I'm the computer man. I'm the Macintosh man with the virus scan. Moving your files all across the land. Some Photoshop filters in After Dark. Get your Microsoft Office, express your quark. Millions of colors with a VRAM chip. How about a system crash that'll make you flip? I'm the computer man. I'm saying Windows 95 is plug and pray. If it's fonts you want, you gotta go to Macway. Log right on as my personal guest. You'll have Macintosh software on your desk. Send me an email with your request. If it's hardware you want, baby, I'm the best. I'm the computer.
Good evening, K-Squid listeners. Good evening, Santa Cruz, Monterey, Central Coast, and beyond. My name is Luigi Opito, owner-operator of Pleasure Point Computers, right by the beach here in beautiful Santa Cruz, California. And for the next hour, I'm your tour guide into a world of wonder, magic, information, and a lot of frustration. That's right, we're talking about the internet and the world of computing. I am your computer man. Welcome to one of the most helpful, friendly tech counters I hope you've ever visited. I'd like to welcome you to your Tuesday nights, your local radio station, your local KSQD Santa Cruz, KSQT Prunedale, 89.5, 89.7, and 90.7 FM, and always broadcasting live at ksqd.org, as well as online on our new apps, downloaded, available on the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. Ready to rock and roll for you. But welcome to Tuesday night. Welcome to your 6 o'clock computer wipeout hour, right? We're going to be talking about all sorts of stuff, computer tech, and devices and all sorts of the things that go around. And now that everything is kind of intermelding into everything else, we're going to be talking about different things that go into all other places like scams and all sorts of stuff, that maybe even diving into tiny bits of the scrapings of politics when it comes into it, but more on the computer side. So, of course, welcome everybody, old and new listeners to the show. Stoked to have you with you tonight. If you're saying to yourself at any point, wow, I'd really like to get these steps down, but how am I supposed to get it all down? Well, because I'm talking kind of quick, right? Yeah, I know. Sorry. But you can jump over to our website, ksqd.org, where you have a whole myriad of all different things going on here at the station, as well as in the county and the state and everywhere that we think you should know about. And, of course, here at the station. And, of course, on that website is our 2-week audio archive, where you can click on that under the listening tab, find our 2-week audio archive, and listen to any of our shows, including our awesome music shows. For the last 2 weeks. So if you missed one, or if you want to hear something or heard there was something really good, you can jump on our website and listen to our whole audio archive for the last 2 weeks. If it's after that, you can always jump on to a podcasting service of your choice, Spotify. It could be the YouTube, or it could be the actual Apple Podcasts. And there you'll find the Computer Man Show. I'm a little behind on updating my shows, but they're going to be coming up to date pretty soon here, real soon actually. But check it out. It's just search for The Computer Man Show, and you'll see us on our podcasting service, as well as like YouTube, etc. But just do a Google search for it. It should pop up on your favorite podcasting service. Pretty cool, but you can listen there. But while you're over on the KSQD website, one of the main features, the favorite thing that I have, of course, is the good old donation button. That's right. That's our donate button that's at the very top, that red candy-like button. That's super important because that allows us to come in and have a place to come. That's right. We actually have a place and a board and everything to sit in front of because of your amazing donations. We are not beholden to any type of grants or anything out there that might be volatile in the system. We are beholden to you. We are a true community-based radio station, and we love it that way. So hit that donate button, make it reoccurring, and we love you for it. There's no other way we can be here, and we wouldn't have it any other way. So we love you, and we hope to talk to you soon. All right, if you'd like to reach out to me after the show, you can always email me, Luigi, Luigi, at pleasurepointcomputers.com. That's Luigi at pleasurepointcomputers.com. Usually, I also have a KSQD email. I just don't check it as often, so I give you that out, Luigi at ksqd.org. But if you really want to get a hold of me and really come through my email stream, Luigi at pleasurepointcomputers.com will really flow through in my normal day-to-day. Of course, we're here at the station, 831-900-5773. That's 831-900-KSQD. And if you just stumbled across this show, what are we going to be doing? What is this show all about? Well, for the next hour, we are all about updates, new devices, testimonials, scams, and our call-ins. That's right, your phone number, 831-900-5773, or jump on here to On Air. It's ksqd.org. I'm getting an email up right now as we speak. There it goes. And also, it's really cool on the app. If you have the app, the KSQD app through the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, at the very bottom, there's a little envelope that allows you to click on that, and you can actually send me a message live that pops up right in front of me here. It comes through our email system, so if you don't want to do email, and you just want to send a quick message, jump on there, On Air at ksqd.org, or hit that little message button down at the very bottom of the app, and it'll send it directly to my inbox here, and it'll blink at me, and hopefully I'll see it before I click out, Pretty cool. Alrighty, Roo and Tigger 2, here we go. All right, let's get it going here. Today, scams, there's always scams that are going on. We always talk about scams. I want to reach out to some of my listeners out there, and some of my clients that are listening to the show. I'm trying to do everything I can for you guys. I'm trying to give you every type of pathway and trying to protect you every way. But there's just some things I can't do. And if you've been added to a list and people are calling you on the phone and they're asking to take remote control of your computer, the FTC, I think, put it best. I have a sheet here from the FTC. Is very good. Here it is. The FTC put it best. They said if a caller says your computer has a problem, hang up. A tech support call you don't expect is a scam. Right there. A tech support call you don't expect is a scam. Right there, right? I'm not calling out to people going, hey, you have problems with your computer, unless they're part of my remote monitoring service, right? Where you pay me a monthly fee and I actually watch your computer and let you know about things like that, because we've set up a whole process. We've set up a contract. We've set up a trust service where you know how much I'm going to be able to get into your computer and where to stop me and all those things before I even step foot into any of this stuff, right? And that's what you want to know. Same thing as if somebody's going to be coming in and working in your home, you want to know what they're going to be doing. Where are they going to be going? Do you need to lock certain doors, make sure they're not going to certain places? If the person's around upstairs and they're only doing stuff downstairs, why are they upstairs? They're not supposed to be up there. Those type of things are kind of come along with it, right? So same thing with scams. If you get an unsolicited call, you did not make that call. You did not ask for a call. You didn't call Dell and say, oh, we're going to call you back. None of that stuff. They just call you and talk to you about your machine having whatever problem it's having. It's not real, right? So to some of my clients who come in and they bring their machines in and we do a full system scan and we find no viruses, no malware, etc., but your phone number's been added to a list, and then they call you and they ask to take remote control of your computer, and then they lock your computer out because you didn't give them the money when they asked you to, and then you call me and tell me, hey, I thought you said my computer was protected. I'm like, yeah. It is. You've got Windows Defender on there, which is a good antivirus. You've got Malwarebytes to run anti-malware. We put AdBlock on your browser. Make sure you're good with AdBlock and things. But, there's a lot of things that you can kind of get into places with. And if someone gives you a call and wants to take remote control of your computer, I have nothing that will make your computer stop that, besides locking your machine down even further, and then it takes away functionality for you. So I just want you to, if someone calling you, they just think twice before letting them into your home, right? If someone's knocking your door, you think twice before letting them in. If someone's knocking at your phone and they're trying to get into your computer, just think twice. Just an extra second. Say, that computer guy told me that I probably shouldn't jump on. And I agree. You probably shouldn't jump on, let them jump in, right? So, okay. Also going on kind of scam-wise a little bit, Twitter. If you have a Twitter account and you don't use it, I would highly recommend jumping on and deleting it, or at least, now it's a little bit late. There was a huge amount of leaked data from Twitter, the Twitter usernames and passwords. Actually, usernames, there was a bunch of things that went before it. There were two different levels. Another level came out today, which is why we're talking about it again. 2.87 billion, with a B, Twitter users were basically exposed all their profile information. It didn't have any email addresses or passwords on this first one, but it was included user IDs, screen names, profile descriptions, URLs, locations, account creation dates, etc. And you go, okay, well, that doesn't sound too bad, right? But then today, they then summed it down. They're like, oh, actually, we have some good news and some bad news. The good news is that 400 million, it's about 400 gigabytes that included about 400 million usernames and passwords, etc. It wasn't actually that. It was actually 200 million because a lot of them were duplicates. But we did find out that the access information that was in there did include email addresses, did include usernames, and did have some passwords in it. So if you have a Twitter account, I'm not saying go crazy on Twitter or something right now. If you have a Twitter account, and I always ask people, look at your email address and look at your password. That combination, that username, that password, those identical two things. Where else do you use that in your login atmosphere, right? Do you use that on Facebook? Do you use that on Instagram? Do you use that for your bank? Do you use that for this? Do you use that for that? Anywhere that those two things are used for you, you need to go change your password. That's all I'm saying. So with Twitter, especially right now with that leak, that was a massive, massive breach that happened back in 2022. But at the same time, now there's been some more refinements, and there's a whole new thing out that says that it's actually included a lot more stuff. So if you do have Twitter stuff, get out there and change it. I mean, I actually spent about 15 minutes getting into my Twitter account that I started back in 2011 when I started my shop again. And when I started the shop, I grabbed all the accounts, right? Instagram and Facebook and all these things that I didn't know what I was going to be using, including Twitter. And I hadn't signed into it for 13 years, but my account still existed. So I signed back in, spent all this time trying to get back to my account just so I could cancel it. But that was more because of the CEO. And so I didn't use it, so I'd just get rid of it. And now there's this big breach, so whatever. But it was also a different username and password. So I didn't really care about the breach because my email or the username that my Twitter handle had and the password that went with it, I don't use that anywhere else. So if they got that information, they could log into my Twitter, which has nothing, and that's it. So it's really useless information coming from me. But a lot of people use the same email address and password combinations, which is why anytime you hear about a breach, you always want to go, okay. So if you use different passwords, which is why we always talk about password managers, etc., you can have a random password for every single website. But it's, if you don't have that password manager, you can't get into it. So there's pros and cons everywhere. But yeah, so just tech support scams. We're talking about that. Okay, so right now, let's see what else was going on. Oh, also, right now, there is a big thing with that has been discussed about AI and the way that AI is answering questions based on a huge Russian disinformation campaign that was found out recently, known as the Pravda network, Pravda, Pravda network. It was aimed at manipulating AI chatbots to disseminate pro-Kremlin propaganda. And you're like, okay, how do they do that? It's like, well, AI reads, right? It reads a whole bunch of stuff. And then what it does is then it spits out answers based on what it's read, right? Like just you teach it stuff and then you ask it questions and then it's like, okay, I'm going to give you answers based on what I've read. And, it's constantly consuming new information. But with this disinformation thing, it was launched in April 22, operated by the Crimean-based IT company TigerWeb, and it's produced approximately 3.6 million articles. Okay, so this group has produced 3.6 million articles across 150 domains in multiple languages, targeting audiences in 49 countries. The content often included false narratives such as unfounded claims about U.S. bioweapon labs in Ukraine. And I remember this thing about 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, when AI was just kind of starting and people were talking about things, that there was a lot of this bioweapon stuff that was popping up when asked about Ukraine and stuff. So this is interesting because this is kind of aligning with that. Says this analysis of 10 leading AI chatbots, including OpenAI's ChatGPT-4, which is the latest one that we've been using, and Microsoft's Copilot, which is Microsoft's version of AI, revealed that these models reproduced false information from the Pravda network in about 33% of cases. So it worked. It got in there, and it is turned out about 1/3 of the things you ask it could come up with one of these disinformation articles because, that's what it's read. Indicates a significant vulnerability of AI systems to be targeted for disinformation campaigns. Okay, so with that, what do we always talk about? Grain of salt, right? Like you see something online and you go, okay, this is going back to the email thing. When you're sitting in your email and you're reading your email and you go like, oh my gosh, PayPal charged me $900, and you freak out because you have like $600, right? And been there. I've absolutely been there where you're like, oh my gosh, this charge is more than my entire savings I have right now. What is going on? I'm screwed. And you start freaking out. Okay. Then if you can, it's hard to do, but if you can break the freak out and then go look at the time and see, oh, that was done like, 6 hours ago. And you go, okay, well, I looked at my PayPal. I looked at my bank account actually about 3 hours ago, and I looked at my PayPal about an hour ago. So that doesn't make any sense. You go back to your PayPal account, you look at it, and you realize there's been no charge. There is no charge. You go back to the email, you look at the email with a little bit more focused eyes, and realize that the PayPal email is not from PayPal. So crisis avoided, right? You went through all that, but there it was. This is kind of the same thing. You just got to take it with a grain of salt. AI is a great, cool tool to do things with. It is not the all-in-all out answer. You can maybe if you're asking it math questions or how physics works or something like that, but if you're asking it to interpret something for you, or if you're asking it about something like that a search would normally bring up, or if you're even using Google and you're doing a search and then it shows the AI answer at the very top, that AI answer might have been pulling from something kind of weird. I use the same example all the time. I'll do it really quick because I probably used it too many times already. But there's this ghost town in Las Vegas, and there's one road that went to this ghost town in Las Vegas, and some storm happened and it like wiped it out. So someone before the storm happened had gone to the ghost town and had written an article about this ghost town that you can visit in Las Vegas. It's like this tourist things. And they were, okay, so it takes, 40 minutes to get to the thing. Almost 40 minutes on the dot, and I'm making up a number, to get to the ghost town from Las Vegas. And he goes, okay. So then they wrote this article. There's the article. They published it, whatever. So a year later, this storm comes through and like either washes out the road or erodes the road or ruins the road to the point where now that road is no good. And they're like, well, we actually wanted to reroute it to go around this other place so more people would drive by this other spot, blah, blah, blah. And now there's a new road that goes out to there, and it actually takes like 45 minutes to 50 minutes. It added like 5 to 10 minutes because you have to kind of go around things instead of going straight shot to this ghost town. Okay, so what am I telling you all this? If you do a Google search and ask about how long does it take to get to this ghost town from Las Vegas, the AI will spit back out that it takes 40 minutes because it's reading from the old articles, right? And there is no new article that got published that talks about this being a ghost town tourist spot, blah, 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 that now takes 55 minutes or 50 minutes to get there or 60 minutes or however long it is. There's no article about that. So AI has nothing to read about to receive that new information besides like doing some type of map search or something, which it's not going to do destination searches from here to there all the time. It's going to pull from some type of thing that from data like that. So that's what I'm saying. Like AI is good. It does a lot of things really well. Like you can like have it read an article and summarize it real quick. You can have it build a calendar for you or produce artwork when and make the artist really angry when there's the artwork that's coming out with. Some of it's really good, some of it's really bad. So it's kind of solidifying artists' jobs and things, but at the same time, it's also pissing a lot of artists off, and I completely understand that. All I'm saying is that AI, just take it with a grain of salt. You're not going to get your definitive answer from it because sometimes there's other things going on, or you're going to see something else that's just going to be slightly wrong. So read the answer, but if you're really trying to find a real answer, just do one more search. And to be honest, if you do that one more search and you click on one of the links inside your Google search, that is going to give that website ad revenue, which will keep that website going. Right now with AI, if we were doing searches, the searches are coming from AI and people aren't clicking on the websites anymore. You do your Google search, you get the answer in the little AI overview at the very top, and then people stop their search. That's it. They don't click on the website to go read about it. They've gotten their answer right there. So now these websites that are relying on their ad revenue, they're relying on clicks to get to their websites, the information is being displayed before the click. So they're not getting paid, kind of like one of those websites that has journalists that don't get paid and stuff. That's if you go around it with ad block and stuff. So that's just something I just want to talk about that as well. Just with AI, with any of this stuff, with information, just double check, especially if it's something important. It's really important just to double check and make sure that you're not just getting some AI slop. But a lot of it's good. Just some of it can be not right. Okay. Let's see. Anything else going on here? Okay. So also I found a new thing. There's this thing. I don't know if people have been kind of asking me about email masking. I don't know if you've heard about this at all. There's a new service that a lot of email servers are starting to adopt that basically generate unique randomized email addresses forwarding to your actual inbox. So the approach, it says that it helps prevent spam, protects your personal information. Email masking can come from anywhere from like DuckDuckGo's email protection, Mozilla Firefox Relay, Fastmail, Addy.io, ProtonMail's Simple Login, and Apple's Hide My Email. All these are services that do email masking, and the tools basically provide a free and also premium options depending on what they are, with features to the ability to reply to forwarded emails, while alternatives such as creating throwaway accounts or using Gmail's plus alias features exist. They may be less effective in safeguarding your privacy. So these masking services are out there. They're newer. I do like them, but at the same time, it's kind of like, if I'm going to be receiving, I guess this is about like automated responses and that kind of stuff too. It's also about unwanted emails coming to you. But there's also like 10-minute mail, and 10-minute mail has been around for 2 decades now, and it's still one of my favorite things to do. If you have to sign up for something and you need that coupon code, and it's going to, give me the coupon code, but I need your email address, blah, blah, blah. Cool. 10-minute mail. So jump online, do a Google search for 10-minute mail, brings up a website that literally gives you this weird blah, 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 email address, and the inbox is right there. It's all on this page that you load up on 10-minute mail. And if you refresh the page, the email address changes, etc. And there's a little timer that runs down from 10 minutes. And you can then use the email address. You leave the window open a new tab, go to the thing you want the coupon from, put it in the coupon form, hit submit, go back to the 10-minute mail website, which is now down to like 9 minutes and 20 seconds, and wait for a second, and then boop, you got an inbox. There it is. There's your email. You click on it, get your coupon code, use your coupon, off you go, and they don't have your email address. That's kind of the same thing as this email masking, except it's a lot less setup, and you don't have to actually type in anything that's yours. So, yeah, I mean, email masking is, I think we'll maybe use this a little bit more as people go on with it. The hide my email feature inside of Apple Mail is decent. I just don't think people really get exactly how it helps them yet. So I think as it becomes more and more mainstream, those services will kind of pop up a little bit more. Obviously, you don't pay for any of this stuff yet. There's a lot of free services out there you can use for exactly this that you don't have to pay for. So before you dive in on some paid service, find a free one that's probably on your mail already, and you can use it that way. Let's see. Any other things going on in the current events? Nah, I don't really want to talk about that. That's not really computer stuff. Oh, this was kind of cool. This is slightly computer. So you have the little Coinbase computer Coinbase battery. Excuse me, that actually is in your computer that holds onto the date and time. It's called your CMOS battery, and the CMOS is this complementary metal oxide semiconductor, but the battery is just a little watch battery. It's like a CR2035. It's about the size of a watch face, but it's a little coin cell battery that does 3 volts. And there's a company called Betavolt that developed a coin-size nuclear battery. Okay, it's coin-size, same size, coin-size nuclear battery capable of producing 3 volts and delivering 100 microwatts of power with a lifespan of 50 years without requiring recharging or maintenance. So the battery utilizes the radioactive decay of nickel-63 to generate electricity, a process known as beta-voltaic conversion, where beta particles emitted during the radioactive decay are converted to electrical energy opposed to gamma particles or anything else you'd see on a normal nuclear decay. And then it uses a semiconductor material to receive those beta particles, which in this case is such as diamond, and then it allows that to produce electricity at a small rate, at a small constant rate. So technology offers a compact and long-lasting power source, potentially beneficial for applications that require sustained, low-power energy over extended periods. That's kind of cool. Just the fact that they made a different battery like this. Again, this is from a Chinese startup called Betavolt. So, I don't know what computer would need a 50-year battery, but there's a lot of things. If you had some little, if as long as it wasn't destroying your wrist or however the beta radiation comes out, but a watch battery would be amazing for that. Or if you had just any other device that needed a low voltage 3-volt constant ping like that, you don't have to go out. Maybe some light at the very top of a tower someplace, or something that you just wouldn't need. As soon as you install it, you wouldn't want to mess with it for 50 years. So fascinating. Let's see what else we got here before we hit the halfway point. Oh, of course, Windows 10 end of life. We're still on that. I'm going to keep up with it every week. We're going to talk about it. No new news yet, but the new, I just, they're really pushing buying new stuff, which is a first kind of from Microsoft. I mean, Microsoft's always been, buy new stuff, right? But this is one of the first times where they're like, hey, yeah, we're offering the operating system to you, but if you don't have that chip in it, if you don't have this TPS chip, the Trusted Platform Module TPM chip, then you're kind of SOL. You're stuck, because our operating system isn't going to work for you. Kind of curious about what they're going to be doing, because they're emailing people ads, and it's weird. Buy a new computer. And you're like, dude, my computer works just fine. Now, granted, my laptop, I'm going to be able to upgrade to Windows 11, and I've been pushing it. I don't want to upgrade to Windows 11. Windows 10 works just fine for me. I don't like the look of Windows 11. I don't like the feel of it. I don't like the way the settings looks. I don't like the way the control panel looks. I don't like the start menu. I just don't like it. It's kind of like 10, but a little bit different, and it doesn't do the operating system is virtually identical. Yes, I know there's obviously underlying things that Windows 11 does, but October 14th, 2025, Windows 10 will no longer receive the security updates or technical assistance. And again, how often have you called Microsoft? Not very often, right? So if you're not calling Microsoft all the time, you're not going to be able to do that anymore. Okay, no problem. And it says not going to receive security updates. Well, and again, I love you all out there, but there's a lot of you that I check your computers and we haven't been checking for security updates, right? And sometimes Windows will do it automatically. Sometimes it's been turned off. Sometimes we just don't check it, and it says it has a ton of updates from months ago. So again, I don't know if they're going to do some big blue screen thing across your stuff saying, hey, this is now out of date. I don't know what they're going to do. They have a little more control in this operating system, so they have a little bit more. They have more options in order to kind of screw with you rather than they did over Windows 7. But they're really wanting people off of Windows 10, I guess. So, and they're also going to try to push for this extended security update fee that you might be offered if you don't upgrade to Windows 11. Say, oh, you want to say Windows 10? Fine, you can stay on it, but you have to pay us like $80 for the next year, and you still need a new computer at the end of the year. So you have to give us more money, and then you're going to be giving the computer store money to get another computer, and it just sucks. So again, they're providing it for like a year. But then they said, to facilitate the transition, Microsoft provides tools to assess hardware compatibility with Windows 11 and offers guidance on backing up data using services like OneDrive. So they can get you another way where you put all your data on it and they give you the first 5 gigs for free. And all of a sudden, you have more than 5 gigs of data. Well, you're going to have to pay us now every month. And then they lock you in and they move your desktop around. If you start to move it off, then it starts deleting the files. You can't figure out, you do this very specific thing to turn it off. I have an actual service at the shop that we do to turn off OneDrive. It's a whole service because you have to do it a specific way of like dancing with the Wi-Fi and then copying the data off and then disconnecting the account. But you can't do any of those things first because it'll remove the data and start deleting data from online before you do. It's crazy. It's crazy. So that seems predatory to me. And they're saying that the Windows 11 delivers enhanced security features, improved performance, and a modern interface aimed to provide a more secure and efficient computing experience. Whatever. I still think that's lame. I don't like it. I don't want it. I don't want it at all. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we're almost. We got a couple minutes left. Let's see if there's anything else going on here. Oh, of course, cyber101.com. If you're curious about any things that we're talking about today, not really sure about multi-factor authentication, ransomware, device security, phishing, passwords, security, data security, privacy, all the type of things, you can jump over to cyber101.com. It's a pretty straightforward, comprehensive learning site. You can log in and actually keep track of your learning and do some classes, etc. But mainly it's just an information hub. It's a place to go and learn about the things you want to learn about and nothing else. If you're not interested in any other topics or any other things, you can only learn about phishing if you want to do that, or just see what multi-factor authentication is really all about. It's a good place to go if someone told you need to up your security and you just don't know anything about it. It's a great place to start, as well as this show. But check it out, cyber101.com. Yeah, they have some cool stuff there. It's a nice website and just straightforward, no data mining, nothing creepy and stuff. Let's see what else. Also wanted to tout the Internet Archive, archive.org, just for the hard work and everything that they do that keeps a lot of the things that are online. It's a nonprofit library of sorts of millions of free books, movies, software, music, websites, everything. But most importantly, it's just free content, right? Even like old DOS games and stuff you might not even consider, like the Wayback Machine, right? The Wayback Machine is awesome for people who have deleted their websites. That never happened. You're like, well, let's go to the Wayback Machine, and I'll show you that it did. Or audiobooks or old-timey radio and stuff. It's a kind of a cool place. Archive.org. It's basically like the way that I picture the internet being in a perfect land, if there's such a thing, right? Like it's great. It's an open resource with everything's free, and you can use it and you can share, and it's just a positive place, and it's always trying to be removed, and it's not. It's still there. So it's a great place, archive.org, and of course, check it out, and if you can, donate to them. They're great. Last thing I want to talk about real quick before we go to our break, just a quick announcement. Someone brought this to me, and I looked it up a little bit, and we've talked about it before, but another person brought another phone to me, and I saw it, and I wanted to kind of bring it up to you. Android phones, as a default, you can see everywhere you've ever been on Google Maps by default. That's like their default setting in there. So if you have your location turned on your Android phone, and you go to Google Maps in the timeline, theoretically you can see everywhere you've ever been with timestamps and a map of directions on how to get there. It's turned on by default. It's kind of hard to turn off, and if you use a shared account or if somebody else has access to your phone, they can literally see each and every place that you've been and when you were there. Some of you may care, some of you may not. If your Google account is ever compromised, they can look at this data and get an idea of your daily routine, which is kind of creepy, and where you are and when you are, and including currently where you are. Police courts, and companies could also use this as evidence for snooping on you as well. So that's also another reason just to kind of turn it off in the, current climate. It's a huge privacy concern, obviously. If you're concerned with it, it's if you're not, then whatever. But if you kind of should be concerned with that, it's just kind of creepy to be able to see where you've been. But obviously, some of you don't really care either. So it's a personal preference. I think it's an amazing feature. I think it's a really cool thing to say, where was that one restaurant we went to, or the store you got something, 2 years ago or so. You could kind of go and see that. Or someone also posted that it was a great way to track down a bike you lost at 2 a.m. After the bars. And that's also another thing that might be advantageous of it too. So, but again, you could see that it would be a privacy concern if you didn't know that it was there. And so now I'm letting you know that it's there. So do with it as you wish. And if you'd like to know how to turn it off, email me, luigi@pleasurepointcomputers.com, and I can give you a step-by-step guide on how to turn that off. It's not too bad. You can keep your location services on, but just not have it track you. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, well, we reached the halfway point here at the Computer Man Show here on KSQD Santa Cruz, K-Squid 90.7 FM, also 89.5 and 89.7 FM. And also online at ksqd.org. We're going to go to a quick break in the halfway point here of the Computer Man Show with your host, me, Luigi Opito from Pleasure Point Computers. Hope everyone sticks around for the second half. We got some email questions, some other things, and the phone calls coming in. 831-900-5773. Love to hear from you tonight. And let's see what's going on out in the real world. And then we'll be back after these quick messages and moments.
Well, I saw Tatacan, but I'm out on the road again. I'm on the road again.
Whether you're on the road or at home, you'll never be without your squid. With the KSQD app, you can take the squid everywhere. Connect with your favorite host. Learn about new music. Text a request or comment. Browse our podcasts. Record a message and listen uninterrupted while you browse. Download the KSQD mobile app for iOS or Android at ksqd.org or in your app store.
My name is Luigi Opito, owner-operator of Pleasure Point Computers and the host of The Computer Man Show, a 1-hour call-in show Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Viruses, slowdowns, scams, and updates. Computers can be a pain, and I'll help you through it.
Send me an email with your request. If it's hardware you want, baby, I'm the best. I'm the computer.
If it has an on switch, we'll probably talk about it on The Computer Man Show Tuesdays at 6 p.m. only on KSQD 90.7 FM Santa Cruz.
Get into a computer.
Hi, I'm Bobby Bishop, host of Be in the Night, bringing you the best I can with jazz, love songs, and soul. Join me on Tuesday evenings from 7 to 10 p.m., playing the classics straight ahead and introducing you to the latest artists and composers. That's Tuesday nights from 7 to 10 p.m. right here on listener-supported KSQD 90.7 FM, Santa Cruz.
Yes, there's nothing better than to let all this computer nonsense ooze out of your ears with some jazz, right? As we say every week. So, and I mean that because the jazz is awesome. And there's so much computer nonsense that we have to get some way out of our brains. So stick around for Bobby B in the Night coming up at 7 o'clock. Nothing better than letting the jazz take over. And also, the Homeless Garden Project invites you to join them and honor the legacy of Cesar Chavez during a day of service Saturday, April 5th from 9:30 in the morning until 2 p.m. Guest speakers and lunch will be provided as volunteers get their hands into the dirt to help the Homeless Garden Project work on spring tasks. The event is free and open to the public. For safety, please wear closed-toed shoes, dress in layers, and bring a hat and a water bottle. The farm is located off of Schaefer Road at Delaware Avenue in Santa Cruz near Natural Bridges State Park. For more information, it is available from volunteer coordinator Omar Guzman by email at omarg@homelessgardenproject.org. That's OMARG at homelessgardenproject.org. Thank you, Homeless Garden Project. We appreciate you, and get out there. That's on, again, that's going to be on April 5th from 9:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. Real important. Homeless Garden Project's awesome. They're such an important organization here in town, as we have so many that are just really important people and projects and things that are going on here in town to do that we do for others and that they are doing for others. So that's great. Thank you so much for all of you out there for everything you guys do. So we're back here at the Computer Man Show here on 90.7 FM, K-Squid, KSQD. Let's see what we're going to be talking about today. We got some email questions going on. Let me see if we have any other things. So, this was okay. So I had this thing about the astronauts. The astronauts came back down, and it kept bugging me that like they said, oh, they're stuck, da 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 da, when there's been like a Dragon capsule attached to it. I don't follow a lot of the NASA stuff and a lot of the space stuff, but I love seeing the different things that we're doing with space and I saw an article that came out that basically said that they said that they were not stuck, and I was like, finally someone said that. Okay, it has nothing to do with computers. Okay, let's continue on with computers here. Just had some sciencey stuff like that battery. It's just kind of cool. All right, let's see what else we've got here. We've got some email questions we could get to. We could actually talk about some of those. If you want to give me a call here at 831-900-5773, let's talk about these email questions that we've got coming in. Let's see. Sometimes my PC will not Google things when I'm searching something. I was like, okay, so is the DNS/probe/finish/NX domain error. Interesting, okay. So they said they'd plug that into Google. Interesting. And it actually gave them a response. It said that they had to try to do this ipconfig flush DNS as suggested, but it didn't work. So what that is that so that's kind of the whole question, right? This NX domain error. When you're following it, the DNS probe finished NX domain error, it's actually telling you as it's going. The DNS, the domain naming service, DNS, did a probe. It finished the probe and found out that the NX domain is incorrect. And you're like, well, what's the NX domain? So what you have to do is you have to basically flush it or look up the Google one. So if you go to the command prompt, go back to nslookup.google.com, it'll start looking for things like and show you the actual hard-coded address. But if there's a hesitation in the command prompt, then that usually means there's something that's interacting with your DNS requests. And if that's the case, then there could be something malicious on your computer. If not, what you can actually do is you can go into this is getting a little in the weeds here, but you can go into your adapter and actually change your DNS to something to Google, which is 8.8.8.8 or 8.8.4.4. Or Cloudflare, which is 1.1.1.1 or 1.0.0.1. If you change those DNSs, then what it does, it actually goes through a different services naming service. So instead of using the one that your server has or whatever, then you can force it to go through Google's or force it to go through Cloudflare, and then that way it'll basically renew the machine. I know that's a lot of blah, 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 but the idea is that your search is looking down a path that kind of has a dead end. And so we want to tell it, hey, refresh yourself. Okay, now it's refresh. Okay, now that you're refreshed, are you still seeing things? No, I'm not seeing things. Like, okay, cool. Then let's go down this road that this company has, and let's go down this road that another company has and see if you can still see things. If you can't see things at that point, then again, there's probably something at the immediate end that's actually blocking things, and it's probably something on your computer. And that's probably something that's a little bit malicious too. So, and we can also search for that using Malwarebytes or using Windows Defender. It could be any of those that would allow, that would let you kind of get you through the process, I believe. But again, you could have a VPN service or any of these things that could be blocking your dynamic naming service from getting you to the website. And it's literally just we use it every day. Everybody who uses that stuff online or uses anything online uses a dynamic naming service. So or domain naming. I can't use my words tonight. But if you do a Google search and you do a Google search for dogs, you're throwing that out and you're bringing it back, and that's part of all that DNS lookup because it's going through websites, et cetera, et cetera. So also maybe an extension on your browser as well. I'm thinking of all these different things that it could be. Some people, if you use a different browser and you do exactly the same search and it works, then that, again, isn't going through your computer. That's kind of at the top level. It's going through your browser. So if you use a different browser and it works, and on one browser it doesn't work, then there could be some extension that's actually loaded in the browser that could be changing the way that it acts, right? Because that's what extensions do. They manipulate the browser's activity. So that could be it as well. If none of that works, I would delete your cache memory from the actual browser that you're using. And I would also try resetting the browser settings. And then after that, restarting the PC completely, either restarting or shutting down, because they actually do two different things. So a lot of places to go for a search that doesn't work. But when it comes down for that error, those would be the processes, right? So again, just real quick, if we're going to go through it again, we're going to change the DNS, which is in the adapter settings, which is in the computer. If that doesn't work, we're going to try a different browser. If the browsers still aren't going right, then what we're going to do is we're actually going to go into that same browser. We're going to delete the cache memory. We're going to try resetting the browser settings and then restarting the PC. But that's a unique one, but also one that could cause a lot of frustration because all of a sudden now you can't do any browsing, and that's important. Okay, another person asked, I have an old HP Thin client I found. It has Windows 10 Enterprise, which is a very high-level version of Windows 10 for like businesses and servers, etc. What happens after the evaluation 90-day free period or 90-day period? I assumed it was licensed when I bought it from the motherboard, and it did recognize the license, but it seems it's not a full license. I want to know what happens after the 90 days, or I may just switch to Windows 10 Home. Thank you. So Enterprise evaluation is not Enterprise. It is what's called a trial operating system. Even if you got I had to look this up, but if you get the regular Enterprise version, there's no time bomb in it. So even if it's unlicensed, you can just use it if you have a copy of it. So if you have a copy of it, you can use that. But if you don't, then first, before we even go with that, you should see if there's a key on the motherboard. So download Showkey Plus. It's a very simple little program that runs. You literally double click it, and it looks at your motherboard and outputs the key that's loaded on your motherboard. It'll show that embedded OEM key that's on your motherboard, and then let you know and what version you have and what version it is, and then you can install that version that it's supposed to come with. And then you don't have to worry about any trials or licensing or anything, because you theoretically have a key that's legit, that's yours, that you can use for your own software. You can download the software for free. The Windows 10 Enterprise evaluation is designed for IT professionals interested in trying Windows 10 Enterprise on behalf of their organizations. It comes with a full Enterprise suite and features, so it's a full-blown operating system. But after 90 days, the desktop background will turn black, and you'll see a persistent desktop notification indicating that the system is not genuine, and the PC will shut down every hour after you boot up. So that's what that is. Windows 10 Basic is going to be good, but again, if you get Showkey Plus, run it on the current operating system that you're seeing. You'll be able to see which key came with your motherboard, and then you can just go download that version of the operating system for free, use your key, activate it, and all of a sudden you've got a fully licensed version of an operating system that's legit that you haven't paid any money for, right? Besides, buying the machine and all that stuff. So, yeah. But that's with this one. That's what happens after the 90-day transition. If you were on like Windows 10 or Windows 7 after the 90-day or after the 30-day trial, you're just not licensed. A lot of times it won't let you set your wallpaper, and like sometimes they slow down like the network and stuff. But for the most part, it doesn't do much besides not letting you change your wallpaper and having a big message down there saying, "Hey, this isn't licensed." So besides it being a little embarrassing for your friends who do have licenses or whatever, then I don't see the issue, but that's just me. It could be other things too. I'm not actually quite sure with Windows 10. And of course, the things could be changing after Windows 11 gets, full control. Who knows? Okay. Accidentally deleted precious pictures. It says, my girlfriend was trying to transfer pictures from her phone, which is Samsung Galaxy, to her laptop. Okay. She accidentally deleted them from the files of her phone on her laptop. One click, a bunch of precious memories gone. She's been feeling awful. Okay. So like you were looking at, so you probably had the phone plugged in, and then you were looking on the computer at like a Windows Explorer type thing or whatever, and you were looking at the phone's pictures on the phone, and then you deleted them using the computer, I think is what I'm understanding. So question to you is that is there a way to recover the photos and videos? I mean, it can't really be that easy to delete something off the phone, right? Without a trace. Okay, so files on your phone deleted from the PC are usually permanently deleted. Now, let's say if you had the Samsung and you had them on an SD card and then you deleted them. What I would do is I'd immediately turn the phone off, I'd pull the SD card out, and I'd try to do a recovery on the SD card. Because theoretically, if they were deleted, they were just marked for deletion and weren't actually, scrubbed from the card. And that's what happens a lot of times. When you delete something, you're marking that file with a little denotation at the beginning of it, software-wise, that says, "Hey, computer, don't look at this file anymore because I'm deleting it." But it doesn't delete the file because deleting the actual file takes up time. It takes up processor clicks. It takes time, and the computer's got other things to do. So what it'll do is it'll mark it for deletion. The file still sits there, and then when the computer or the drive or whatever it is needs that space, it's free to overwrite that space. But until that, it's just sitting there waiting to go. That's why when people give me drives for data destruction, that I use a very specific piece of software that writes over the entire drive multiple times, so I'm not just deleting something, because deleting something again is just marking it for deletion. So if you have an SD card and she did that, granted, as soon as she starts using it again, there's theoretically a chance for her to overwrite it and stuff. But if it's on an SD card inside the phone being deleted from the backside like that, then there might be a possibility for recovery if you use some certain recovery software. But that would be required pulling the drive out completely, put it into some type of reader on a PC, and doing that from that immediately without using the card anymore, without the phone and stuff. So, but for the most part, if you do that, theoretically they should be deleted permanently. There should have been a box that says, "Hey, this is going to be deleted permanently." There's no recycle bin or anything because it's not transferring it to the computer, then putting it in the recycle bin and then deleting it from the recycle bin. It's doing a process, telling another device to delete things, like a network drive or something. So, again, recovery software might be able to do it. Depends on how the deletion went and how quickly you pulled the card out, and if you use the card again, if the phone was booted back up. I mean, I could tell you don't do that, but that was a mistake. It was when I'm doing stuff on my, I kind of learned this a long time ago, that just from getting myself screwed up with things. If I'm moving things, or if I'm trying to take photos like off of another device, like a external hard drive, etc., I never move. I can move inside the computer, like from documents to pictures or something like that. That's better. But usually what I like to do is I like to copy. So if and a lot of times the process is a copy, right? Like you'll copy from an external hard drive to your internal hard drive, and then the original is still there. You'll make sure everything's good, and then you can delete the hard drive or whatever you're going to do, or just leave it there as a secondary backup. But if you move, what it'll do is it'll copy, and as soon as it's done copying, it'll just delete it. But if something happens and it's in the middle of it, it'll get all screwed up. And so by copying, if something happens in the middle of it, you can just start over, right? But moving really rolls the dice. So I really try and tend to copy things rather than move them for this exact reason, because I don't want to screw something up. And especially with customers' devices, I copy and I do it on a very specific way, so that in case there is an issue, in case there's a power outage or something, I'm just going to be able to start over, and I won't have to worry about losing anything that I shouldn't have lost. So that's kind of my angle too. Yeah. Okay, let's see. What else we got here? Next one. Oh, okay, cool. So this is interesting. So it says, my girlfriend's game runs way worse when she's at my house. Says, I have a quick question. My girlfriend and I started playing Elden Ring together. Wow. What a game to play together. A game of love. We started playing it together. My PC's pretty decent, but she uses this gaming laptop that's kind of crappy. I was like, okay. Issues that for some reason, whenever she brings her gaming laptop to my house and we play together, I'm on my PC and she's on her laptop. Her game runs way worse than it usually does, and she has to use really low quality settings to run the game smoothly. But whenever she's at her house and we play together, she's able to use high quality settings with just fine without issue. Why? Okay, so this one, I actually went back and forth with this person a couple times, and I was asking them about their computer, I was asking about the network, and I was asking about, but like, when you play a game online, it doesn't take a lot of networking to play a game online. The networking comes into play when you have like a live thing, when you're playing live with a whole bunch of other people that takes a lot of data, like a racing game or something that needs to know all these locations or where you are at the same time, and then you're communicating with the server and stuff. That could take a lot of data and stuff. But Elden Ring doesn't, right? So you're like, well, okay. And then you're like, well, why does it work okay at her house and doesn't work okay at yours? And I started talking about this and the other, and then started talking about how she doesn't bring her power supply over. And I'm like, your power supply? You mean like for your laptop? She goes, oh yeah, it's a gaming laptop, but we use the power supply we have at my house. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, is your power supply exactly the same as the one you have at her house? And he goes, oh no, it's a different shape. I went, okay. Let's start looking at the wattage on the power supply. What is the wattage on the power supply at your house? And he went and looked at it, and he said, okay, mine's 65 watts. I'm like, okay. So a fancy MacBook Pro it used to have an 85-watt charger, but a lot of them came with 60 watts. The MacBook Airs came with 60-watt to 45-watt chargers, and there was actually a 35-watt charger they came out with that wasn't very good, but 45 watts was kind of the low end, 65 was kind of the natural one, 85 was kind of the higher end, and now the new MacBooks, I think, come out with either 90 or 105 watt power supplies. Okay, so just give you an idea of the wattage, right? So he's using a 65 watt at the house. I'm like, well, what does she have at her house? And he had to, we had to wait for a little bit for her to go back to her house or whatever. And then when she did, she looked at it and she said that the power supply at her house was 180 watts. So she is trying to play a game on a gaming laptop with probably a gaming video card in it, and she's choking, like choking it out, choking the video card out at 65 watts. So yes, the machine will run much worse if it doesn't have the power behind it, especially with a video card, especially with a game like Elden Ring. And if you look it up, it's very graphical intensive if you turn it up, and it can be. It's shadows and water and fire and all sorts of cool stuff. But it's not going to run well if there's not power behind it. So that was a good one, because you're like, well, is it network? Is it this? Is that? No, it's the power supply. Always all the way back to the very first connection. So that was a unique one, but we went through all sorts of other things first time. So you can always see that sometimes it's just going to be something that's the simplest, right? And it was that we were using a different power supply than the one that was originally designed for. So, okay. Another person writes in, Apple Mail is crippled by AI. Yeah. Did you hear about the lawsuit that's going on right now? So Apple's being sued because Apple Intelligence has been touted, has been released, and Apple Intelligence is not out yet. It's still not out. It's in this early version that's like Siri Plus right now, but it's not out. Apple Intelligence and it's in the way that they're marketing it doesn't come out, I think, at least until September, if not later. But right now it doesn't exist. So they're getting sued because they said it was false advertising by selling this Apple Intelligence when they're not. They're like, no, it's Siri. And you're like, well, we already had Siri, but they made a little ring around. Anyway, so says Apple Mail's been crippled by AI after being a devout Apple Mail user for probably a decade. I'm sorry. I uninstalled it. Apple Mail is effectively crippled by AI. I don't need or trust toppable summaries. Yeah. This is on the phone, I think. And this is pretty funny, where the top level summaries will take parts of the emails and completely make it wrong. Like, someone said, "Oh, that was dead funny," da 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 da, and said, "Oh, your brother said that something is dead." And you'll get that, and you're like, your summary, and you're like, wait a minute, what? So AI has been pretty funny on the mail side, but it says it doesn't need or trust top-level summaries. It says top-level summaries is just an additional text to an additional email. Additional text is additional reading is additional time. It says my inboxes are now forcefully and intelligently categorized in ways I do not want, can't understand, and it causes me to miss significant emails. Turning off relationships between AI and mail does not work, no, thank you, at all. I cannot get back to my dumb Apple Mail. For example, when logging into Gmail, it'll show 38 emails in my inbox. And then it says Apple Mail with Apple Intelligence shows that I need my needs better than myself, and thus only shows me 2 emails in this new primary category. So in the other category, surely some of the emails must add up to 38, but they don't. So I could go on, but these alone are just asinine changes and extremely disappointing for the first time in my life with all their Apple Intelligence nonsense shoved down my throat. This actually wastes my time instead of saving it. I seriously considered switching to Android. Okay, so first thing you can do on Apple Mail that I found is you can just leave it on all mail. It sounds like you're using Gmail. Why are you using Apple Mail when you could just use the Gmail app? And if you have Gmail and you're on an Apple phone, I highly recommend downloading the Gmail app. The Apple Mail app it's bad. It's really bad. And they don't update it. They don't change it. There's no reason to, except for this, throwing Apple Intelligence down your throat. There's no reason. I can't stand the Apple Mail app. I stopped using it, almost a decade ago. But I got the Gmail app, and the Gmail app works really well. If you have Gmail, if you have Proton Mail, get the Proton Mail app. If you're using Xfinity Mail, use the Xfinity app. If you can, try not to use the Apple Mail app unless you're absolutely stuck on it. And at that point, then use Thunderbird or something. Apple Mail just isn't very good. And that's my own personal experience I've had with it. I just don't think it's very good. But to each their own, right? Yeah. Let's see. We've got about 4 or 5 minutes left here in the show. Let's see what else we've got here. If I have a little bit longer one we could talk about, that one's gonna be okay. We got 2 more here. Let's go through it. Excuse me. Okay, Seagate refuses to format. So my 2 terabyte Seagate external hard drive is having issues when I try to free format it. I get a pop-up that says Windows was unable to format. I recorded the issue, he says. Oh, okay. Okay, so this, reaching out to this person, I asked him if this is like a new drive, this is an old drive, and they said it was brand new. I was like, don't even mess with it. If it's not reformatting and it's brand new, you do not want to deal with that drive. Take it back. I have purchased 3 or 4 drives in a row, like in a stack, coming out of the same box, and 3 of them have been bad. Just something happened to either the box or something happened to that shipment or whatever. But like the 3 that were really close together, they were just bad drives. So that happens. And especially if it's brand new, don't mess with it. You don't want to fight it. You don't want to deal with it later on. Just take it back. Get another one. They deal with it all the time. You'll get a new drive. Your new drive will format just fine. You don't even have to think about it because there's nothing you can fix. Most of the times it's something mechanical that's inside the drive. There's nothing you can do. Just walk away from it. Okay, this last one actually was pretty good. I want to just talk about it real quick before we have to go. Does OneDrive scan the actual content of my drive? For the holidays, I'm converting a bunch of older the show to VHS tapes that my parents and grandparents have taken throughout their life and my family's lives. Some of the videos include me in the bathtub as a baby, running around in the yard as a diaper, etc. I wanted to upload them to OneDrive and share with my parents and grandparents, but I've heard horror stories of not safe for work files being scanned by online storage and parents getting into trouble, etc. I want to make sure I was safe before uploading these to OneDrive and then sharing them with my family. So one thing you should know, every online service based on their insurance has to have their data scanned for child pornography. It has to be scanned for adult content like that, things like that. Some things will get false flagged, like children's photos, etc., bathtub type photos, etc. That could be. But everything's been like that at least for 5 to 7 years now, based on insurance requirements, etc., etc. But there's, it's basically when the automated system flags something, right? And what happens when that gets flagged? Who knows? Does OneDrive do that? I'm sure that OneDrive scans. I can't imagine that they wouldn't. But a lot of the algorithms are intentionally broad and are basically undefined. It's all designed to protect the cloud host, not to protect you. So yeah, it could be flagged, could be something. But at the same time, if you're not doing anything nefarious, at that point, if it does get flagged and someone looks at it, it most likely will be fine and you won't have to deal with it. Yes, if you're putting anything online, that's a good thought to have. And it's valid because everything gets scanned based on insurance. They don't want to get scanned. They don't want to get sued, right? So, or host illegal stuff. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, if I missed your call tonight, go reach me by email again, Luigi, Luigi, at pleasurepointcomputers.com. Remember to tune into the Computer Man Show Tuesday nights from 6 to 7 p.m. here on 90.7 FM, K-Squid, KSQD. I'd like to thank all my listeners and my callers. Thank you, KSQD, Sandy Stonehill, Facing Radio, Giving, John Sanders, all Santa Cruz contestants, the Wasm Education Controls, and of course, the humble Electron. Thank you again, Santa Cruz. I'm your Computer Man here on K-Squid, KSQD, 90.7 FM, and online at ksqd.org. Stay tuned right here for Be in the Night. I hope you all have a positively charged evening. Until next time.
I am the computer man. I can do anything you can. I am the computer man. I can do anything you can. Computer man, he is your friend. He gonna help you again and again. So if you have a question or two, he's got the answer just for you. I am the computer man, and I am ready for questions now. Thank you.
Mr. Computer Man, how much is 2 plus 2?
4.
Mr. Computer Man, how do you spell cat?
C-A-T.
Mr. Computer Man, how do you spell supercalifragilisticexpialidocious?
With letters. I am the computer man. I can do anything you can. I am the computer man. I can do anything you can. Computer man is very wise. He speaks the truth, he never lies. So if there's something you don't understand, just ask the computer man.
Hi, Mr. Computer Man. My name is Jenny. I have a question for you.
Wait, Jenny does not compute. What is your number, please?
Number? I don't have a number. I'm a person.
A person? A person? A man?